Hello, and welcome to It's Already In You podcast. We are your hosts, Liz
and Janine, nutrition and movement experts, mothers and business owners, obsessed with helping you quiet the noise of diet culture.
Seeing through the false advertising and promises of our food and fitness industries, helping you discover that everything you need to upgrade your health and well-being is already in you.
Hey guys, today we're talking about a little bit more of the simplicity of making change when, you know, you're ready to start making lifestyle changes as far as nutrition. And last episode, we talked about a little bit more on the fitness side of things. And today we're gonna just look at simple swaps that we can make to improve our diets and make better than changes, when you have to make choices that might not be healthy full on, but we need to make better choices, what we can do.
Yeah.
And so Liz asked me in the last episode to speak to something when I had a client coming in and being just a fitness professional and not having that nutrition expertise. And I'm going to flip that question over to Liz today. And I'm going to say, you have a client coming into you looking for the nutrition part of coaching, and you are just a nutrition coach, and how you would handle, they're coming in, they want to lose some weight, they want to start making positive changes in their life. What is that expertise that you're going to give them, that expert advice that you're going to start with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it goes without saying, we know that everybody comes in at a different spot with a different level of information. So let's think that this person is like really taking their first step into learning about nutrition or making their first kind of like commitment to change. And so with that person, with kind of like a freshie, I would really start off, I mean, it's not going to be a surprise to you guys at this point, with like the simple basics, taking a look at where they're at and meeting them where they're at. So first and foremost, we're not going to have these like a big, massive, overwhelming goals. It's going to start with your foundations of your body, making sure you're getting a variety of nutrients in daily. Check the box. Yep. I say, check the box.
Yep.
Minimum of 6 different, fruits and vegetables daily. Variety is huge. You can eat an apple and carrots every day for your life because that's what you like. And you are going to be missing so many important things. So looking at the variety of foods that you eat, making sure that you're properly hydrated, making sure that you are eating regularly through the day for your blood sugar, which is going to support, not only your mood and your energy, but help regulate your cravings, and making sure, again, that you're getting a variety of nutrients in. If you're eating, every 3 to 4 hours a day, your chances of getting more different foods in, when we know food is nutrition and nutrition is the communicator to our health and our body and, us thriving, you're just increasing the odds that you're going to get more of that in. So I always start with your foundations, like legit how your body is built and how we support the systems of our body. So until someone can really be like, yeah, I have a rhythm with that, I'm committed to those really simple everyday things, I don't go much further, because what I call like the bells and whistles or the add-ons that are impactful and important for a lot of people don't land or don't resonate or don't make a huge impact unless your body has that root care, has that just like everyday rhythm going on. I say a lot to clients, like, you wake up one day and you're like, I need to start eating healthy. I need to start eating, making better choices. And you just start, and from the outside looking in, you have a super healthy diet, for the last week or two. But you didn't take the time to care from the roots up. So basically you're eating and making these healthy choices on top of dysfunction, on top of, a digestive system that might not be working. Maybe something's going on with your gut health. Maybe there is some immune things that need to be supported. And so again, that really just comes from the simplicity of those foundational foundational choices. So that is where I will start, and everybody looks different. Sometimes I send people home with a check the box thing.
Yeah.
We find different ways to kind of get those choices, kind of a pattern of those choices going, but it's really that simple. And I think a lot of people are looking for more. They're looking for some grand thing. And I promise you guys, unless you can say, yes, I do all those things the majority of the time, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Or that's the place to start.
Well, because we want an answer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I want to look like this, or I want my clothes to fit different, or I want to lose this amount of weight, or whatever it is. And unfortunately, it's usually external that we're thinking, right? In some cases, you have people come to you that they're having health issues and they need to make changes. And, and it's great that they know that they need to start with nutrition, right? Like, I think it's powerful to understand that nutrition affects us on a cellular level, but it's amazing how many of us have disassociated nutrition with that. Right? We don't think, there's even doctors that you go speak to don't really talk to anybody about nutrition when you're giving them symptoms, and they're not saying, well, the first thing you need to do is look at your diet, right? Because nutrients are going to affect you on a cellular level.
100%.
So with that being said, right, how, when you're living in society where things have been so changed, like convenience and fast food, and you can't, whether you're a college student or you're somebody who's so invested in your job, and you really can't make huge change, right? But you need to make some change. Liz and I speak a lot to better than options, right? Like, but knowing that they need to be better ingredients, and you really need to think about what you're putting into your body first and foremost.
Yeah.
But if you were to give that advice, right? Like, so let's say you're working with somebody who it's convenience, it's fast, and it needs to be easy.
Yeah. So usually the cooking and food prep is a real challenge for a lot of people initially, until they realize it doesn't have to be like incredibly complicated. I'm not a huge cook. I don't really love to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I feel like my claim to fame is like a soup or something that's simple. Like, you throw everything in a pot and then that's it. So teaching people that whether your life is super busy or you're away from a kitchen, like you're in college or like whatever, your choices still can be aligned with the way you want to feel if you understand what nutrition is and what your body needs. So for example, I would say, grab whole fruits and vegetables, like literally an apple, a banana, a cucumber, a bag of carrots, so that there is no cooking. Have those readily available, have nuts available, have, there's a variety of meat sticks. I love the Vermont brand. So like you can have little proteins here and there. If proteins is something you want to incorporate, you can look and be like, okay, well, I work in the city. These are like cafes or places where I can trust that they're going to have more responsible choices, or smoothies or salads or whatever that are filled with nutrients. So for some people, finding places, because you're always in a rush, that sell things that you can rely on, and that you're like, not like I just have to get that like slice of oily pizza that's been sitting on the shelf because I just need something in my body and I feel like I'm shaking and I'm about to crash. So understanding that planning ahead a little bit doesn't involve a whole day cooking. It involves throwing things in your bag or stocking up your dorm room or whatever with really easy, simple, single-itemed pieces of food. And so I think that is like, oh, I can do that. Yeah. I can pack those in my kids' lunch. I can grab that and put it in my desk or my cafeteria in my office or whatever. Yes. I think that approach is like, oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah, and it makes you a little bit more mindful about, like you said, I think a lot of people, if they don't have anything with them and they're getting to that point where they're like starving, it's like they'll stop and they'll be like, well, I had no other choice.
Yeah.
We'll make another choice.
Yes.
Find a way to have another choice.
Yeah.
Even if it's that, little trail mix in your bag or your car or wherever it is. Because now, like, we talk about eating more mindfully, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that is important to not forget that we don't want to be carelessly just eating snacks to eat them.
Of course.
We want to be keeping our blood sugar regulated, and we want to make sure we don't get to the point where we're like starving so much that we're just eating something that we wouldn't normally eat. But at the same time, like understanding that there is a little preparation, there is a little like thoughtfulness and mindfulness going into that as well at the same time.
Yeah, and that's just the responsibility you have over your body. Like, you know, I get that like our day-to-day life can be really busy and really full, and it's like, oh, this is just one more thing that I have to do, and I just don't want to do another chore. And that's the perspective point. Like thinking about caring for your body as oh my God, I have to do this, or this is like this is at the bottom of the list, really creates almost like a block from the get-go. And so learning the importance of your health and the importance of your energy and your well-being and going to work and not feeling sick or zipping up your jeans at the beginning of the day and being like, I feel really good in my clothes, or whatever it may be, like that is why you prioritize, making a little bit of extra time and carving out, 20 minutes for movement, or, planning ahead where, you're traveling for this week. How am I going to incorporate some of these better choices? And, I'm a big believer that if that is what you're doing the majority of the time, things here and there, if you're just like stuck and health-wise, cellular-wise, that's not going to make this like grand health impact. And so looking back 30 years, that's kind of what happened. Majority of the time people ate whole foods. And then here and there they might eat something that's crap.
Right.
But like it didn't affect our health the same way it does today. And
and that crap wasn't what crap is today.
And yes, that crap wasn't what crap is today. But like our body wants to heal. It wants to be healthy. In reality, if we were eating majority of whole, real, quality raised foods, and we had a little bit of crap, our body wants to heal and be well. Our body would take care of that crap.
Right.
The crap is different, and the crap is way more consistent. And the foods that are supposed to be quote unquote healthy now, like lie to us. And so we are, majority of us, a lot of us are choosing foods that honestly we think are the better choices that are still not because of advertising or because of whatever. So with that being said, how do you, like when you go to the market or you go out to eat and you're like, okay, I know that I'm in Whole Foods and that doesn't guarantee that all these foods are going to align with, how I want to feed myself. What are some things that you, like really simple, like out the gate things that you look for that you're just like, these top 3 things are just like, nope, I'm not going to.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, if there's a lot of ingredients, like I'm looking for 3-4 ingredients in things that I'm buying that are boxed or bagged or canned, frozen, whatever. If it's processed food, if I'm getting snacks for myself or my family, I want to see the lesser ingredients, and then it's more quality ingredients, right? I'm going to go for something with avocado oils rather than seed oils. I'm going to look for things that have real ingredients in them. If obviously I'm not purchasing anything that I can't identify it on the label, where we spoke about that, at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like, I think that our immune system is stronger when we're eating more whole foods more consistently. And it leaves room for the times where we have to have things that are a little bit more convenient. But I also feel like making the choices of looking for less than ingredients and knowing that the ingredients of the things that are fast, convenient are better, because then going back to, years ago when that was something that we were doing lesser of the time, it was still better crap, right?
It was better crap. Yeah, it had that less addictive, so that the thing that we're eating now, a smaller part of time, is going to pull us in harder to like, oh, I'll come back and try that again tomorrow, or like whatever, than it did years ago.
And the gut and healing the gut. And there's so much more now, I think, that we're seeing health-wise of how we're being affected by the processed foods and the big ag and all of the things in the food system that we're dealing with that we have never had to deal with before. So I think, just being being real.
Yeah.
Literally, like focusing on like, yeah, crackers are not evil.
Yeah.
You can have crackers, but making sure that the crackers that you're eating, like being realistic that there wasn't polyphenol, like whatever, like that, and the words, like you can't even pronounce them.
Yeah.
Those things weren't part of making crackers,
Yeah.
right? There were 3 ingredients in bread.
Yeah.
There was 3 ingredients in ice cream, not 16,
Yeah.
not 62. So just being realistic that your body can digest and process things easier if there's not a ton of ingredients and things that the body can identify. It can't
Yeah.
break down things that it doesn't know what
Of
they
course.
are.
Yeah.
So knowing that, like, your body's going to respond better to a cracker with 3 ingredients rather than a cracker with 27,
Yeah.
right? So I think being mindful and really looking at what we're putting in our bodies is important. And loving your body is in the choices that you make, right? Like saying that if I can make the choice of putting something in my body that's going to be harmful, and I can put something in my body that is going to be healthful,
Yeah.
right? Is important in making those decisions.
Yeah, it should be empowering, not like what like
Yeah.
like this is I'm missing out. Like you're actually giving yourself such a gift to like kind of have that perspective of like this is a choice that I get to make. And the fact of the matter is like you can go into the store and it's harder than it should be. I recognize that, but you can go into a store and you can get a cracker that's a better choice.
Right.
You can get bread that's a better choice.
And
So it
any
doesn't-
store.
Any
It
store.
doesn't have to be Whole
Yes.
Foods. It doesn't have to be,
ice cream, whatever. So like, yeah, I think that's like a big essence of our message because I know that we, have talked about like we don't want to come across as like a food police or anything like that.
Right.
We want to empower you guys to like choose things that will only create a better body and a better life. And when I say better body, I don't mean like, 6-pack abs. I mean like feeling better and
Feeling
thriving
better.
and having
Yeah.
energy and not getting sick often and all of those things. Like that comes from truly your choice. So when you're
Yeah.
standing on the shelf, it doesn't mean you can't have a thing or something similar.
Right.
But like just to understand that it's going to one road will take you one direction and another road will take you another. And like
Exactly.
as much as like it would be nice to be able to sugarcoat that and be like, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the truth. Our body recognizes food that is made for our body, or it does not recognize food, and the food that's not made for our body has consequences.
Yeah.
And the longer that we eat it, and the more quantity that we eat of it, the more consequences that we will feel. And and I think I might have mentioned this last week, was now when you look at, our population, health is not dictated by you're thin or you're overweight.
Right.
There are so many people that are extremely unhealthy because they're eating processed foods regularly that have, allergies, learning issues, mental health, autoimmune, all of those things. So I know that so much of that comes from people's diets, and you can go to doctors and you can go to seek out professionals. And, obviously I'm not a professional in like the medical field, but I know that there is a huge mess. There is a huge gap in the information of people having physical and mental distress symptoms, very, very real, very, very upsetting and like impacting their quality of their life. And there is not a connection made to what they're eating on a regular basis or what we're feeding our children on a regular basis.
We are now starting to hear though
More,
the gut,
yes.
the gut brain connection,
100%.
depression, anxiety, all of those things related to what we're
Yes.
putting in our mouth every day. And it's funny that you said we don't want to be food police, but if there was a job called the food czar, or the,
Yes.
I'd want that job.
You would
I
be very good at that
I would
job.
want that job. I just want to say that. No, and no judgment, obviously, of like the weight, but and I really don't. I like people are so funny with us. I think that the more educated you are about nutrition, the more you try to educate people, and And we go to this place where like, well, I'm not healthy like you, or I'm not going to make choices like you. And it's like, it's not, I would never expect that you would. Like, we're all at different places on the spectrum all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And, I'll say to people, like, there's this side of the spectrum where we're eating fast food and processed food and food product that doesn't even have any food in it.
Yes.
And then we're on the side of the spectrum where we are eating all whole foods, and we're like, nobody really is. I mean, very few people are at one extreme or the other.
Yes.
Right? But what my goal is always is to get you to move towards that end of the spectrum that is going to allow you to live better. Right? But when you said, like, it's like having allergies.
Yeah.
When people say to me, like, oh, well, I only had a little red number 40, or I only had a little high fructose corn syrup, or, if you were allergic to peanuts or you were allergic to penicillin, you can't just have a little.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have a reaction.
Sure.
You're going to have a consequence. So I think that we need to think like that more. Like, if dairy bothers your body, you need to identify that and realize that even if you have a little, it's going to affect your body.
Yeah.
So you got to find that way of making choices that are going to be, again, more healthful instead of hurtful, and be okay with that.
Yeah.
And that there are options and opportunities for you now that there wasn't for a little while. Like, there was, like, almost to the point where we were in food swamps because we didn't have the opportunity to have, well, if I can't have this, there's no other option, right?
Yeah.
Now we have some really good options.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like cashew yogurt or coconut yogurt. Again, and then we need to, like, preface that with, there is always the not good for you cashew yogurt, right? Like, again, still looking at the ingredients, that they are responsible ingredients, and that it's not just Dannon, like, putting a label across something this is dairy free. Well, just because it's dairy free doesn't mean. And I think in coming episodes, we'll speak to that a little bit clearer.
Totally. I noticed that a lot with, like, gluten, like gluten-free is like a thing. I mean, I think it was fat-free when, I was growing up and stuff like that. Like you see gluten-free, but you can see gluten-free on a thing of Oreos, or you can see gluten-free. So it doesn't mean, and I think in our head, like, we want the thing. So if we see those words, we're like, it almost gives us permission to have the thing. So ultimately it goes back to the whole real food. So knowing that, having an understanding, I think a lot of us probably at home are like, I get a lot of what you're saying. How do I begin? And I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, starting with your foundation, starting with just like a really basic, like, what does my body need to work and run, and how can I figure out how to give that to my body on a daily basis? And so that's the place that you would want to start. And then from there, you need to look at your own unique life. Are you a worker? Do you travel a lot? Are you on the road with your kids for sports all the time? Do you like to cook? Do you not like to cook? Like, taking your own life and finding patterns and choices that fit into your life. I see, all these grand plans or these things that, like, people want to do with great intentions. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. But that's not, like, their lifestyle does not support that, because their family's not going anywhere.
Yourself.
Yeah, your family's not going anywhere. Your job's not going anywhere. Those things are real. Yeah. And you don't want to create something that creates more stress or more like, I have to do it. So, approaching any sort of change or any sort of, I'm inviting this new habit in, I want to form a relationship with this new pattern or choices or whatever. How can I find ways that it can fit and complement my life? While being honest with yourself and responsible. Like, you got to find a place. Like, you have to spend a little time food prepping. You might need to move some things around a little bit, but to understand that you're going to make that lasting impact when it is the least amount of stress and the most enjoyable process decision thing you look forward to eating.
And if it means putting the healthy things in first, and adding those nutrients before even considering what you need to stop or take out, right? that healthy stuff can push off, like we spoke to
Yeah.
crowding out your plate a while back. Like even that one change
Yeah.
is going to help you to have a better quality of life. And
Yeah. Yeah, because remember, like you teach your body. So the more that you introduce the things that your body responds to and is like, thank you so much for, the more that it's going to start to crave those things. And then the things that feel crappy, the things that don't make you feel great and, you know, have consequences, your body's going to start to identify those and be like, you're like, oh, this makes me feel really good. I want more of this. And like this doesn't, that actually happens naturally when our minds are turned on and we're giving our body the things that it needs. Like I know, you know, I'm at the point in my life where most of the time I can feel that so just organically, you know, like if I eat something not great, my body immediately is like, ugh, that didn't feel good. I can feel how it lands. And I'm always like, and I'm not saying this like judgmental, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder how people feel.
That's funny. I feel that way
who
all
eat
the
this
time.
all the time.
Yeah.
And that's their normal. So of course they're just going to like, adapt because our bodies are meant, you know, that they're adaptable. They're like, okay, this is what she's giving me. I have to survive. So I'm going to like show up for this type of thing. And it's talking to you, but like you can't hear it as clearly as like, oh, I'm having this thing that I don't have that's not great for my body. And now I can really feel it because I've taken the time to teach it that this is the stuff it's craving. Yeah. It's a cool process. And that is just what it is. It's a process.
Yes. A process.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's already in you.
It's already in you guys. If you guys have questions, if you want to learn about anything that we haven't touched on yet, please reach out to us at It's Already In You Podcast at Gmail or follow us on It's Already In You Podcast on Instagram.